Break up those Scarlet Knights. Okay, the news is flying fast and furious these days with Rutgers, with all the portals goings on. But Rutgers gets a Big Ten win in basketball against Oregon at the rack as we snatch victory from the jaws of bad refereeing. And as we defeat Oregon 88-85, let's get to it. Come on, you thought there was a good chance that we would go over in the Big Ten, and never mind scoring 88 points. So despite, some might wanting to say, well, it's Oregon. It's the bottom of the Big Ten basketball conference. A Big Ten win is a Big Ten win, and considering where we are right now in our development and where we are as a program, getting a win in the Big Ten, even against Oregon, is and scoring 88 points, is a step in the right direction for this team as we pull off the win at the rack. Yes, I still call it the rack. I'm not going there for my roast beef sandwich. It shows that we haven't totally bottomed out. And I know that's not exactly what look, preseason, we all thought we'd be horrible, but I felt if you're 15-17 with two top 5 NBA lottery picks, you can be 15-17 without them. Nonetheless, maybe have to be taking a little more seriously right about now. Yeah, we're at the bottom with Oregon, Penn State, and Northwestern, and Maryland, surprisingly. And these are all teams that we've kind of had issues with and struggled, against at times. While Nebraska, yes, Nebraska, is 14-0. So yeah. Nonetheless, Tariq Francis leads the way with 30 points, and that hit over the past 5 games is averaging 25 points per game. He leads the team average with 15 points per game. Dylan Grant's about 13 points per game. 10 for 16 shooting, 10 for 11 from the free throw line, which was a big difference in this game. We thought, we all wondered how, coming from NJIT, Tariq against lesser competition might be able to do well. What would happen in the Big Ten? Would he just not have the juice and the physicality to be able to compete? And so far, he's upped his game. 17 against Ohio State, 30 against Oregon. Yes, they're not Purdue, but nonetheless, he's doing a good job in stepping up his game. And we need to find a guy to be a leader. We need to find those core guys that we can establish identity around, and Tariq is making steps. 13s, the number 13s, all lucky last night for Rutgers is J. Mike, Darren Buchanan, and Lino Mark all score 13 points to lead the Scarlet Knights. Speaking of Lino, let's get to him. So a lot of people wanted to see him. They felt he was kind of a guard of the future. And he's starting to get more playing time, and, productivity is a little spotty. I've talked a lot about how this team, half to half, game to game, players half to half, game to game, are really choppy and inconsistent, kind of extreme in some ways. But Lino played, I want to say, 26 minutes last night, and he was part of a controversial ending to regulation time where he missed a free throw, his only miss of the night. I think it was 7 for 8 from free throw, and was on the rebound, was called for an offensive foul, which everybody agrees was a phantom call. Brian Fonseca actually called out the name of the referee and not to It was a female referee, which kind of brought me back to football, sitting in section 124, where this one Big Ten referee who was also female, I just couldn't believe. Right there at the field, I can't believe how bad her calls were, to the point where there's a lot of chatter these days about, refs, whether it's basketball or football, whether they're looking for a predetermined outcome, and made you think nobody can be this bad. I don't care, who you are. But she called that foul, and it obviously, it was pretty obvious that, when the announcers and prognosticators on X are scratching their heads saying, well, wait, what? It was a bad call. Fortunately, it didn't hurt us in the end. But Wei Lin, after that, it hits a three with a couple seconds left to tie the game, to send it into overtime. And but Lino, playing 26 minutes is starting to exert his influence over this team. And like I said, a lot of fans want to see that. He was 3 for 6 shooting, 7 for 8 from the line. That one miss proves to be critical. And we're probably going to see some headlines about this. Maybe some guys aren't old enough to remember Jeremy Lin and Lin Sanity with the Knicks, but Wei Lin Sanity, he hits that three with a couple seconds left. But I half jokingly said in my preview of this game, but not really, that having a substitute guard in there is going to be a recipe for disaster for Rutgers. And hopefully Lin, I guess a Chinese professional basketball player, would light Rutgers up, subbing for the injured Jackson Cslled. And sure enough, Rutgers, being predictable, whether it's in basketball or in football, lit us up for 23 points on 8 for 14 shooting and 6 for 12 from 3. He was just killing it from 3. Nonetheless, Darren Buchanan talked about a tale of two players, tale of two games, two halves. After a few non-productive games in a row, comes back last night, scores 13, had some critical points in overtime, and some rebounds. The Rack comes alive. It wasn't, you figure it's Oregon, we're not very good, but there was, the Rack was rocking at the end of that game last night. And no, it's not a small thing. When the vibes around the program are this bad, you're looking for incremental steps. Now, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get there because of our inconsistent play, our inability to defend the three, our inability to play Steve Pikiell defense, the erratic nature of who's going to be the productive scorer from night to night. So making progress, no matter how small, is not insignificant. And yes, league wins are important. I guess Phil Knight money didn't matter last night. Yes, Brian Fonseca, I'm going to have fun with him the whole season because he thinks NIL is everything. So I don't care. Unlike football, where we only beat the bad teams and can't beat our peers or above, where we are right now in the basketball program is I'll take these wins, these bottom of the Big Ten wins, be it Northwestern, Penn State, etc. These are teams we've struggled with in the past, even when we were better. So many of us, me included, felt we'd get obliterated in the Big Ten, and there was some chatter that we could go over, maybe luck into a win or two just by chance, by mathematical probability. But the season's not a total loss if you can get some Big Ten wins, establish a core, establish an identity, get the young guys in there, lift us up, steady the boat, and study out the inconsistent performances. We have a shot at respectability considering where we are right now. All right, stats. As I've talked about before, there's usually a basket of things, at least in Steve Peichel's history with Rutgers, that when we do poorly, 3-point shooting, 3-point defense, free throws, rebounding, assists. When we do poorly at those things, we don't do well. But the picture is becoming more muddled as we do better in some of those things, but on certain nights we don't, but we still manage to be in the game or get a win. So we shot okay, 43% versus Oregon's 45%. We weren't good from three, 33%. Oregon shot 41%. We killed it on the free throw line, 30 of 34, 88%, which is, for us, is outstanding. And that puts us in the low 70s for the season, which makes us kind of middling, which for us is very good. Oregon was 12 for 16 and 75%. Out-rebounded 43 to 32. So we, being out-physicaled, didn't hurt us that much. Out-assisted 19 to 10. That kind of tells you how our ball distribution and shot making is going. But here's the difference. We had 10 steals to Oregon's 5. And Oregon had 17 turnovers to our 7, and we had 26 points off turnovers versus Oregon's 7. So our ability to take the ball away and score on turnovers was kind of the difference. So in the end, we get a Big Ten win, and it's off to number 16, Illinois. Then Northwestern and Wisconsin before we head to 19, Iowa. Hey, look, you go 2-2, right? And we're now, what would we be? 10-9, or where are we now? 8-6, 10-8, and then we'd be like 3-5, 3-6 in the Big Ten. That's usually not acceptable, but considering where we are in this program right now, that's okay. And then we're off to, Indiana and MSU. Good luck with that. Michigan State's going to run us off the court. And then it's off to California, USC, UCLA. And I want to say USC has a pretty good record right now, but, they're not really a dominant kind of team. They're someone that's very beatable. So, you pick up a couple wins, you go against some ranked teams, you get a couple losses, and then you do well against UCLA and USC. Maybe we're grinding towards progress with the basketball program, but that all remains to be seen. So Rutgers news, flying fast and furious right now with all the portals. And by the way, this video is probably going to be on top of another video that I did last night with about the portal. And weirdly, for some reason, after 12, 13 hours, the video still hasn't uploaded yet. I don't know. This technological glitches gets really annoying sometimes. I don't know why the video wouldn't be uploaded. I don't know if YouTube is slowing down the algorithm or whatever it might be. There's nothing really controversial in there that they would be offended by, although you never know. Nonetheless, don't be surprised and don't get annoyed if you see this video coming out not too long after the video that I did last night. So I look forward to seeing what goes on in the portal with Rutgers, Big Ten, and nationally, and how like I've talked about, this is our mock draft season. If you're Rutgers, if you're Giants and Jets fans, the NFL mock draft season is your playoffs, and watching how Rutgers, and this is kind of important, how we develop our chops and how we approach the portal is kind of going to tell you, where we're kind of heading. Now, so far, we haven't pilfered many in the portal from, Big Ten name brand successful programs other than Dylan Lonergan from Boston College, which were they, a two-win team last season. Nonetheless, following how we go through our process, and apparently our DC hire, as things typically are with Shadow, a state secret. The conventional wisdom is that we're waiting for the NFL season to end, and so we'll see who we would get from the NFL. For the Jets and Giants fans out there trying to figure out who is going to be the Jets pick at number 2, I kind of think the Jets should kind of maybe trade back a little bit and fill out their roster with all the draft picks that they have. You can always grab someone, Garrett Nussmeier. Apparently, some have him falling to second, third, even fourth round. Fill out your roster. I mean, you lost an all-pro defensive tackle, all-pro cornerback, so you got to kind of get that back. And then you have needs at a second wide receiver. You need some linebacker pass rush help. You need safety help. Caleb Downs, you move back, take Caleb Downs. Giants have some holes to plug too. You may not want to get a number 2 wide receiver, right tackle, safety, corner. They invested a lot in their defense, and it didn't quite turn out that well. Can't believe Joe Shane has been given a vote of confidence. I don't understand that. And Aaron Rodgers making the Jets look ridiculous by going out there and throwing 300 yards and getting once again a fourth quarter comeback for Aaron Rodgers against the Ravens. And what did he have with the Jets last year? He had, 4 or 5 or 6 of those, whatever they were, for the Jets only to give it up in the end. Nonetheless, he is a division champion and going to the playoff against the Texans. So we'll be watching what goes on in Rutgers. A mock draft or portal season. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. You may get tired of seeing me this week, but nonetheless, enjoy the week. Have fun, and we'll see you the next time.